They're not, by the way. Hello, good afternoon, depending on our MLF. Welcome to Live, where we are going to talk hormones. And so, interestingly, this morning, mine must be really all over the place. I had a whole mess up because I was in March 8th, and it is not March 8th, it is February 8th. Yay!
Oh goodness, I'm so glad it's not March 8th yet.
Um, so I'm just hitting live page and we're live on YouTube. So I did it. Good morning, Tracy, and good morning,
Yay!
audience member,
A
and
couple.
welcome.
Yay!
Yay.
Another. So fun. Good morning, Miss Kimby. Sorry you had a little bit of a cluster this morning. That's never fun.
It's
No.
done under the pressure. It's not really surprising because today is my appointment to re-up my pellets.
Mmm.
And I got my blood work yesterday, and it is absolutely fucking fascinating.
Tell us.
So, I've been out of my mind for a couple weeks now, and I'm
Right? Remember the other
all
day
of that.
I said to
Yeah.
you, I'm like, where are you in your hormone stuff?
Yeah. And I've been fighting the good fight, but it's been like very crazy in here. And in here, I mean, and I got my
Mm-hmm.
stuff yesterday. The number that really stuck out to me was the testosterone number, which we talk about testing. And I think women think, wait, why would you be testing testosterone where women not how critical those hormones are to women as well as men. In fact, men estrogen also, and like it's this very complicated system, which you and I are not experts in. We can only share our experience. But my testosterone, when I had tested before the pellets, was at 13.
And explain to
Session
people what that means. So
uh
that's low.
like how are you
Right. So what?
functioning?
Right. So very low. Okay.
Right. So then mid, cycle or whatever, it was at scared me. I was like, I'm gonna have back acne, and like that was a terrible number, way, way high. And then um yesterday, now at the end, before my appointment, it came back and it is right back down at 13. Same.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah. And I thought
No
that was
wonder
just
why
so
you feel like
interesting.
crap.
Right?
Ugh.
And so even though these pellets are supposed to help you sort of maintain, a level, like I know I metabolize things quickly, medicine and food and all the things. And now I know I talked to the doctor today about like, is it an option for me? Am I just going to swing like crazy? Like I can't do that. It's I feel worse now having felt better than when I was supposed to be feeling worse.
Yeah. Well, so I had some stuff, and I think it takes a minute for everyone to know exactly what your levels are and how often you need it. And everyone's so different, how they metabolize things, how much they work out. If you work out a ton, your body uses it up differently. And
Yeah.
so I've definitely had a lot of talks with my doctor about like, okay, and not just testosterone, but does it need more balance with other things, and like, are we trying, and am I someone that can't go 4 months and I can't go 3 months, like it's just, I think it's super tricky because everyone's so different.
Well, and I think it's so funny that you say that. And studio audience, thanks for being with us here today. Feel free to jump in. You can jump in the chat, and we don't have to use your name. You can ask questions or add your experience. Nobody has to see you or hear you, or you can hit call in and we can chat, which would be super fun as well if you want to dare yourself to do
I
that.
I love
But
that I'm writing that in the text to them while
oh,
you're
that's
saying
funny
it.
because what I was going to say is I wrote in this Facebook Live what you just said. So clearly we're of the same mind. And
Hormone or no hormone.
right. And so what I was writing about was like how personal it is. And I love that there's like the discussion happening, and everywhere you turn, it seems to be, more and more people willing to discuss it, and like celebrities and, books coming out and support and everything. Out in the Facebook person, like there's no recipe to follow. Like there's no for anybody. It's not like, oh, we've got it figured out and here's what you do and everyone's going to go off and feel amazing and, enjoy your life. It is so personal. Your body reacts to things, absorbs things. And I know that personally, I feel kind of disappointed by that. Like I want to see it. Like it's just
Of course you do.
you laugh, I know.
I'm
And we're done.
shocked.
I
Oh yeah, it's a process, unfortunately.
Damn it.
Right? Like everything else, like it's like all the nutrition and so it's like everyone has the answers. It's like, well, no one has the answers for you. You can try all the things, but hi Vanessa. Oh, she's chatting with us.
know. Yeah.
And let us know if you want to share something in the text and you don't want us to use your name. Like if you just want
Well,
to.
it's too late for that now, isn't it?
Well, no, it isn't, because there's a bunch of people in the audience. So if she says something else,
It's not like her name was
use her
Lisa.
name.
Yes.
There's a couple other people. So anyway, I don't even know what we were saying. Oh,
I'm so
right,
sorry.
just that
Yes,
it's all
yes, personal.
yeah, that it's a process, and it's I get that it's frustrating that it isn't all handled, and you didn't have the perfect pill, and that it works for everyone. But thankfully, it can be changed and tailored to you and your needs and how your body works. And so and of course there's also so many different treatments, so
Yeah.
just like everything, I feel like especially at this time, it takes trial and error, and it takes finding what feels right. And I mean, look at, so I was laughing on the Instagram that have either of us tried testosterone cream?
And I was terrified. I offered it and it freaked me out. Um, an estrogen cream for a while, and that's when I realized that I needed a consistent delivery. And I was afraid to try testosterone cream. So the person that Tracy, have you ever tried
Why are
it?
you afraid? I was just asking, why were you afraid?
Oh, because I'm irrational.
Like you just made something up in your mind that you thought was
Totally.
scary, or I'm just wondering.
I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
yeah. No. I totally made it up in my mind, and it was don't have it near kids. And I was like, how do you know how much on? And it felt like really like it very easily, and I didn't like that for me. Sorry. Go ahead. Have you ever
Yeah.
tried it?
I haven't tried it either, but I mean, what's true in my blood work is it's not just testosterone, it's a
Right.
whole plethora of things.
Yes.
And so they all need to be balanced and they need to be supported in different ways. And so I needed, I definitely wasn't going to be someone that just tried testosterone cream. I've had friends though that have had severe migraines and lots of fluctuation and things that, just didn't feel right. And they have tried the testosterone cream and it made a huge difference in their migraines and certain things in their bodies. So, again, like,
I'm
it's
wondering
worth
if the
trying
person that
and
just
talk-
asked that, I'm sorry, if the person that just asked that, I'm wondering if you have or you're considering it.
it's
Super
fu-
low. Of,
of
I mean,
It's
first of all, we're
something
not
like that.
doctors, experts, but it seems that
that feels
our
low.
experience that feels low.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I think what
And
you're saying, Tracy, is that like, there's yes, if you cream, it will that level of testosterone feel certain benefits of having testosterone in your body, but you're only solving like a puzzle from our experience.
Yes.
Right.
And I think it's really important to not just handle it because we aren't experts, right? I mean, I want to
Yeah.
go talk to doctors and somewhere where I felt comfortable, and for me, it was a woman that's been through it and has helped herself, and so it's a whole office of women that have had these experiences and that, can draw blood and can talk to you through it and see all the different things that are going on in so many ways because, we're complicated and it's not just I feel like it's not just one thing, and I think it's really important to have everything tested. So we actually wrote a blog together last week, and it's on the midlife.co on the website, and it has a PDF that you can download that has like a checklist for hormones and nutrition to kind of check in your blood
That we
to
check.
start the
Again, just to
conversation.
clarify,
No,
is like,
right.
yes. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
woman who walked in, she's been given the cream, but scared of it. And I mean, that's the kind of thing that you should speak to your doctor about and like express your concern about. And maybe that person, the doctor, can put those fears aside for you, or maybe, also Tracy, I know you feel this way too. Like, nobody knows me. Nobody knows your body inside of you. And I am a big believer in like intuition. Like, if things don't feel right to you, that's how I felt about. And I actually was a friend of mine who was a doctor who was using it. Like, it just didn't feel right for me. And that's what scared me off of it too. Um, but don't you think intuition of take for yourself is really important to listen to?
I think so. And I think getting the big picture and making sure you understand, why you've been giving the cream, what else is going on for you, and making sure you feel like the person that has given it to you understands the whole picture and is talking about the whole picture with you. So, what I also hear a lot is, I went to my doctor and they gave me this, and it's like, what, you know, is that a full picture or is it a band-aid? I'm just not sure. So I had my hormones checked a while ago.
I love this
and they
question
said
so
nothing was wrong.
much. I love this. They said
Yes.
nothing was wrong. I mean, it makes me want to fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Will you her whole text, her whole message again, so we can.
Yeah, I had my hormones checked a while ago and they said nothing was wrong. However, since then, I've stopped having my periods for about 6 months or more. Should I push to get my levels checked again? Yes, it makes her crazy too. And I appreciate that. And I think a lot of us feel that way, right? And again, like even in the blog, we were saying like most of the time, I mean, your levels are fine. Sugar, deal with it. You're in
There
menopause.
is nothing wrong.
So
It's a natural
we get,
process. There's nothing wrong. Right. But I
yeah,
feel like
you're gonna
shit.
feel like shit. Yeah, and so yeah, and that's what I think we both would say. Go find someone else to talk to if that's what it feels like. And yes, get your levels checked again. I mean, we get our levels checked all the time. Getting your blood work done and checking for vitamin D and just all the things is so important. And that's the only way to really know what's going on in your body, right? No sex, no libido for both
We'll
my
get to
husband
that.
and I.
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll get to that in a
so-
second. But can I just get back to the nothing was wrong thing, because it makes me crazy.
Yeah.
When things started getting funky for me, my GP, who, if I had something terrible wrong, like, I'd want him in charge of making me. He's a great traditional doctor. When I started a couple years ago, I was like, can you just check my hormones and let me know, like, where am I in the. I was actually not very informed, because there is no. Oh, you're 18 months away. There's no definitive timeline, which of course is what I was looking for. Like, just give me the date. It's all going to be over. To me, when my numbers, oh, you could still have a baby if you wanted. I'm like, that was not the fucking question I asked.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
learned amazing. I could still have children, more children.
yeah, amazing. And they would say no sex, no libido, like part of the deal, right? That they wouldn't even take that in. And I think there's so many other, like those are the biggies, right? And so then there's no fluids inside your body. It hurts to have sex if you're going to try, so why would you already don't feel like it? And then it's awful. So, there's so many things that, yeah, they give you a cream to try. They'll just keep band-aiding you, right? And so it says,
So just
they give you
clarify,
a
in
cream
case
to
you're
try.
that's what they say, that this woman said in the chat, gave her a cream to try, which can work for some
Yeah.
people. It's estrogen
It can
cream
work for some people.
like a topical that hopefully like rejuvenates your like vaginal tissues and makes it. That does nothing necessarily. Sex is just the testosterone.
Yeah,
And
and
Tracy
the
was saying before, they all have to work
DHEA.
together. Yes.
They do. There's so many pieces of it. And so, and I think it's also important, like the husband piece too, right? They're going through it also. And
So there's just
they
a
need to have
word.
theirs checked.
Yeah. Have you started hearing about? Has that Have you heard that, Tracy, or anybody in the chat? Has that sort of like floated into your awareness? So it's something
No, what is it?
that it's based to, and nobody's ever that it's not their like we all have
Right.
the hormones changing as we age, and we are the way that we're aging is so interesting because we if you look at like what your parents look like, they looked old, and I feel like we don't look old necessarily, and we have are doing more things to stay healthy, and yet we're still um, sorry, my children are that. Um, and so we're looking younger. We're doing all of these activities, and we seem like we've got it all more going on, but we're still like animals. This decrease in hormones naturally, and the men are feeling like shit too. And nobody's been telling them it's okay that you don't feel like good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I so in the chat she's saying I've been very moody and mood swings and emotional. And I mean, these are all right. They're like textbook that go with the hormones being unbalanced, right? When you just feel like shit and all of that, right? Then you're having problems in your relationships because you feel disconnected not only to your partner but to yourself, right? And that I mean, I definitely went through that part where, you know, I just didn't understand what was happening and it was depressing for me. It was very I didn't know how to explain to my husband that it wasn't about him, but I just felt dead inside and I just and how much that hurt me because I didn't feel good. I didn't feel sexy. I didn't feel connected to myself in any way. And so and I was scared, oh my God, this is getting old. This is it. Like how much longer I'm going to do this forever? And I was terrified by it, but no one was talking about it. And
Right.
I finally just started the
You feel like
conversation
you're
with a girlfriend.
crazy. Yeah, you feel like you're
You feel like
or
and that this is it. So you're going to
yeah.
have to deal with it, and that this is just a part of life and this is a part of aging. And although it can be helped. And there's no reason to feel like that and to feel so unbalanced. And, we have to take care of our health and our mental health and all of it. And honestly, what was so informative to me was going to a specialist and being able to talk about like no, for your health to have these hormones in your body it's very important, and this prevents so many things, the osteoporosis and different kinds of cancer. Just to have it balanced correctly is so important besides your mental health and your relationships and just being able to get through the day, and not feeling and the anxiety that comes up. I know so many women that their anxiety is so heightened
Oh,
because of
mine
all of
is, which I
this.
never had really anything like that before, and probably one of my biggest symptoms last night were crying in sub-zero temperatures. Also driving on the 101 freeway, and there was a huge explosion behind on. Like nutsy, right?
Yeah, right? It
But
doesn't feel good.
I
Yeah.
yeah,
But-
in depression. I have a friend older than we are, and when she went through all her doctor did, her male doctor, by the way, that in a second is like, how do you help somebody when you experience this? Just and I think that's a common go-to, and so many people that benefit from them, and I am not shaming, like absolutely, but overall picture, and again, to me, it feels personal. It feels to me like the testosterone cream, like you're just fixing one part of the right, and then it all goes hand in hand together. And a lot of the times, like something that came up in my test, she's like, "Oh, your adrenals are shot." I live like a hummingbird all the time, and she goes, "No, no, no, we're gonna fix the hormones, and then we're gonna see that probably will fix itself too." It's like there is these are to our physical, emotional well-being. These hormones, this cocktail of things, and they affect literally every other cell in your body.
Yes. I think I want to speak to what you just said too. It's like the not having the hormones is making your body work harder, right? And so that's why your adrenals are kicking in, because you're exhausted, right? You can't, so you're pushing, because that's what we do, right? We
Mm-hmm.
push through, we push through, we push through, and you're depleting other parts of your body now.
Yeah.
And so when your adrenals get shot, and like we're talking about immune systems now, and nervous systems, and like, you're going to have anxiety, you're going to have depression, you're going, because you're fried, you've used up your body. And so why not just band-aiding with anxiety or depression medicine? And just like
Which
Gibby said, if you need it,
cocktail?
maybe, but if you get the big picture and not just
Mm-hmm.
supplement that, and get the big picture and see, if everything's cool and that's what's going on, then have at it, take care of yourself. And that we, are always going to promote doing what's best for you.
100%.
But looking at the whole picture, so of course I felt listless, I felt depressed, I wasn't having sex with my husband, I wasn't connecting to him, I felt bad all the time because he still wanted, because what happened to me is my husband's like super proactive in those departments, and he went right to hormones, and and it's an easier fix, like always with them, right?
Yeah.
So he, and it's covered by insurance, and I mean, we could go on, but so he handled it in 2 seconds for himself, and he was like ready to go. What's wrong with me? And I was like, I don't know, I'm dead inside. I don't know what's wrong with me, like, and thank God, they explained to me too, like, you can't do it the same way as him. He could do it the same way as you. He could pellet, but I can't, shoot testosterone. It's much more
Right.
nuanced for us. And and whoever you are, like, as you know your body, like, everything's nuanced for me. So I knew I needed to make sure I had all the pieces, and even like you were saying when we first got on, even having all the pieces, it's still watching it, seeing how your body uses it, seeing what I mean, I went straight back in. I was like, I do not feel any better. You just did all this. I am in, a month now. I don't feel better. I'm still depressed. I'm still this. I'm still that. She was like, okay, let's play with your levels, and shout it out. And then I was like, I called her a couple weeks later. I'm like, I feel amazing. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Like, okay, what's gonna happen? I said, I'm nervous now because I'm afraid it's gonna go away, and that's like what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
And so, and I did watch that. I said, so we went too far because I didn't feel good. I started to have my migraines. I started, and so you start to learn your body too. But for me, that like, just even the energy coming back, the depression, the fog going away,
Yes.
the pellets, yeah,
So
yes,
somebody
it did. So
yeah, the parents do definitely do not help with the libido, but the pellets did. Yes. Overwhelmingly
major,
so. Yes.
overwhelmingly so, and everyone that I know that's done it has the same, which is awesome, to
Yeah.
feel alive again and to feel connected again, and all of that. It's like, yes, it helped in a huge way for me and
For
for
me
you.
too. Yeah. So again,
But also,
experts, we're speaking anecdotally and yeah.
and from our experience, yeah. So, but I
Can
also
I just
felt
also,
like,
yeah, I
yeah,
just want to say, I think it's so interesting. It's something that I think people should. You are working with a practitioner, and I believe I am too. And I'm a few steps behind you. That you felt comfortable going to and saying, "I'm not feeling better yet," and somebody hear you and do something about it, not pat you on the head and go, "It's okay." Oh, you are having a dialogue and validate it's happening. It's true, real because it's happening inside of you. There's really no we can look at all the levels, but how it's actually working for you or not working for you is the best. And you have a doctor that will listen and adjust for that. So I just wanted to
uh,
say
yeah,
that's important to
I
find
that's
that part.
it's huge, and that's their goal, is to just be there for you and to help you find your way. And I feel amazingly supported in that way. Like, so,
Yeah.
um, someone wants to know how, what are the pellets called? Sorry. Um, that is a really great question.
Or
Because I've got,
Sotopel. S
oh, yeah, we might have different
O.
pellets.
That way that I found my doctor was I researched pellets and then they had approved providers and I found area. So that's how I found a doctor. And you can look up that brand or you can probably just Google, hormone bioidentical hormone replacement pellets. Find the providers and that might help. But how did you find yours? You had a friend that was doing it, huh?
I had a friend that was doing it, so I got recommended in my area. Yeah. And I just went to go meet her and do blood work and see what it was all about. I didn't have to do anything. I wanted to gather all the information and
Yeah.
see how it felt, right? Because we've been to so many doctors that are like, well, here's the range and you're in it and you're good. Um, so to also remember that range, when you go to the doctor's office, is the same as like getting dietary information from, the nutritional guidelines that have been around for 1,000 years. It's like
That are
that are wrong. And so, there's new information all the time, and those windows have changed a lot. And so when someone tells you that you're in the normal range, don't just accept that as the answer.
Can we make a T-shirt? Fuck normal, because
Right? It's yeah, it's definitely what is normal.
yeah,
Okay, someone else wants to know how are the pellets different than the estrogen patch? I don't actually know. My guess is the estrogen patch only has estrogen, but that would just be my
I would have.
stupidity answer. I just don't know. So that's a great question for whoever gave you the estrogen patch, right? Or have an interview with a pellet provider in your neighborhood, or like close to you, and say, hey, what, explain to me. This is
Yeah,
what I'm on. What's the difference? We are talking about having our doctors come on, and practitioners to be able to answer some really great questions for you guys, and they're all in. So we will make sure to set up a live for you guys to come and be able to
I
ask
believe.
questions too.
I believe my doctor does lots of different things. Yours probably does too. Like it's just one-stop shopping. It's kind of like here are your options. Here's what may work. Different reasons why somebody does rather than another. And again, I think it's really important to have the conversation. Why are you telling me to do this and we're not doing that? Like there might be good reasons for that, and those are all fair questions. Somebody asked testosterone and estrogen. Mine do, and then I take a progesterone half the month because that is how you don't get uterine cancer. Or yours the same?
Yeah, I think, they put in it whatever you need. So they tailor them, your pellets, to
Yeah,
what, your levels are and what you need. And I do take supplements also that I take a couple different ones, to be honest. I could go grab them. But, I need DHEA, I need vitamin D, I need K, I need, um, what did you say, progesterone, is it?
yeah,
And I have another hormone that I actually take orally through the month too, and I take it the whole month.
yeah.
So it
So
depends.
again,
Depends how dead
everybody's
inside you
different,
are. Yeah.
and some people really to answer how does your hormones. My understanding is actually the other way around. It's that your hormones affect your thyroid, and that's just definitely something that you should discuss with your like OB/GYN or an endocrinologist. When your thyroid goes wacky, it's driven by hormones, and if there's an imbalance somewhere, is my non-medical under. They always. It's funny that every single doctor I go to with your thyroid always checks out normal, whatever that is, right? And they're like, oh, it's really all things that have me all off. I think
Oh
it's
my God.
interesting.
And I've been fighting my thyroid my whole life. So if every doctor will tell you I'm in the normal range, and you go to a naturopath and they're like, can you get up in the morning? Because, by normal, I'm like the last number or the
Right.
one before the bottom number. And and, no doctor will treat it, and the naturopaths will do their best, so it's been a thyroid challenge forever, as all these things
Oh,
are.
interesting. So like all these things that we're talking about, right? All these different systems pointed out, like your nervous system, your sex hormones, all of it, they're all interconnected though. And that's why we all need to find that practitioner that's willing to you as a complete human, not just as a one. That's where we really don't get served properly to feel good. I mean, that's really what it's all about too. Is like, don't we just want to feel have the energy to do the things people we want to do them with? Not about just like it's not a math problem to be solved. Like it's a whole puzzle.
Yes, I agree. And also, just speaking to the relationship, I think because we tend to be going through the same things and we're similar age with our spouses, I think it's really important that you look at this together. And I know at my doctor's office, there's pictures of men and women, there's pictures of couples. Like um, because it's really difficult to have one person going through it and not the other. And so, it's challenging emotionally, it's challenging for all the things. And so, just even to be able to understand and speak to it to each other, but also to know that you can both feel better and you can have a better relationship with yourself and each other, and that's
I,
available.
I wonder if you agree with like I feel like everything that we kind of go through as women, we've been sort of conditioned to do in secret. Like you're so nervous, like you're when you get your period for the first time and you're in school and like you're so embarrassed that you got it, even though hopefully everyone's going to get it. It's a normal thing. And then we shouldn't live this life in shame either. Like involve your partner if you have one. Talk to your friends about what's happening. It's like everyone is going through. It's a natural part of life, but we can help each other out by being honest and open about it. And also, like, I'm going to be late to a basketball game for our son today. And Dave's like, oh, you have your hormone appointment? Yes, I do. Like, I'm at the, I'm feeling, like I'm not feeling well. And so to have all of those open, that my partner knows where I am and he's the problem. It's like I'm dealing with inside of me. So we don't have to live this part in secret.
Totally agree. And I found it shocking that even like some of my closest friends, when I started to talk about it, I couldn't stop talking about it, of course. And then I would just
Service.
right now I'm just asking and talking and like, do you have this and do any of this? And they were like, oh yeah, and I was shocked that we hadn't had those conversations and that they had been holding all of what they, quickly spewed out, shamefully.
Yeah.
And how hard it's been with the spouse and, just that disconnect and, and how our brains work different. So trying to explain what was happening inside of, a woman's body at this time to a man, like, it's like, without them taking it personally and whatever, just so many layers of hard when you're already don't feel good, you're depressed and you're anxious. It's like it's a lot to take on. And so I agree, like the talking feels like it lets some steam out and definitely feels supportive and kind of just de-inflames it, right? It's like it helps us to kind of feel like when I talked to my girlfriend, I was like, are we going to fix this? How are we going to fix this? And she's like, we're going to fix this. We're going to find a doc. We're going to find, and she went and jammed. By the time I had moved up here, she's like, got it. And I'm like, okay, great. I hadn't even, I was like, okay. So I was lucky in that way. But I think even just feeling that kind of kinship and support is so huge for us.
Yeah. And somebody asked, can you tell us it was helpful and we missed that part. Totally happy to be open book on everything. But again, like don't take it as a to go follow because I do different things, not for any specific reason about what we do, but like just this is not something to self-diagnose and self-treat for sure.
Yes.
So do you want to go back and talk about the things you're doing and I'll say the things I'm doing?
I know. I mean, I kind of feel like I should go run and get my things. So I'm making sure that I'm telling the correct. But I'm definitely taking DHEA and I'm taking
which I find interesting.
Vitamins.
That's so interesting because that's a precursor to testosterone. So not only this is my understanding is not only are you getting the test, but your doctor's like, no, you need extra support, and we also need to give you the thing that make more testosterone in your body, which is like a very interesting combination, right? So
Right, because my body's not producing it, and it's so important for so many things, but also it doesn't work right if it's not producing that, right? And
which by
so
the
that's how it
way,
was explained to me.
I'm gonna when I go to my doctor today be like, hey, out of this so fast. What if I did? So I really appreciate you sharing that because I'm gonna. So go on.
It's
But
yeah, it's definitely worth asking, right? So I take DK, I think it's a DKA, and I take the
and D, it's probably like
progesterone.
It's probably D3, K2, and it also has in it.
I
Interesting.
think so, yeah. And I take the progesterone, and
Do you
I need to go check what the other one is.
or do you only take that like a
I
certain
do. I have
days
to
of the
take
month?
it at. I take it at night before bed. Hold
Every
on, let me
day.
get the other one because I can't remember. Every day. Every
Okay.
day.
All right.
You divulge yours while I go get my pills. Then I'll see what the other
Okay.
one is. I just take it religiously. I don't even
Oh,
look.
that's
I
so
think it's an
fun.
estradiol or something.
So I happen to start the estrogen, the testosterone. I'm taking progesterone. My doctor has me only take it for half the month, so like first to the 13th. And then beyond, I athletic greens. I take those every vitamin shake kind of thing. I'm a little obsessed with the Huberman Lab podcast, and he's like a neurologist and exercise physiologist, kind of bent to that podcast, and that's something that I got from there. And I do take also D3 and K2 just because evidence that more than what you think is incredibly helpful for inflammation as we age. And then I am taking magnesium threonate at night to help with sleep. And I'm sort of dabbling in that for my sleep cocktail. That is helpful. What's your other magic pill?
Yeah, no, it's the DHEA, it's the progesterone, it's the ADK, and it's the HRT complete, which is a, I mean, they swear by this, but it's a vitamin B6, it's folate, and it's vitamin B12, and some other fun little things thrown in there. But um,
Well, the bees are
that's,
huge, huge with B
yes.
vitamins.
Well, in my body, it's weird how it absorbs things and keeps them in my body. So, like, I tend to burn out of things quickly. So, there's no very little D. So, sometimes I even get like an extra dose of a shot of D, like a mega dose, just to bring it back up. Especially if I'm not
Yeah.
feeling well. Like, if I feel like I'm going to get sick, I'll just go in for like a little bit of a immune cocktail boost. And they'll give me a little shot.
I think my coloring, I don't produce D like as much as a normal human's supposed to. So even though like I go out and sit in the sun about 10, 15 minutes a day, and of course my face, but you have to absorb the sun somewhere. I don't produce it, so I always take extra.
Yeah, and that's so important too, is to get outside and get that fresh sunshine and, you know, make sure
Yeah.
you're absorbing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your questions and like path to asking questions, doctor, or finding the right doctor to have a conversation with. As Tracy mentioned, she wrote this incredible blog about sort of an overview, like a layman's overview of treatments that are available, and an explanation of hormones. And we just sort of combined what we've had tested, little printout. It's not to say that there could be other things that should be tested that maybe your doctor had some success with something other than what we're talking about. Like we are definitely still always learning and would love to hear done that. But you can also head to our midlife.c, incredible piece that and down to start a conversation. And I don't know if there's any other questions. Being so like verbal, it's so fun to hear some of those. I don't know if there's anything else that somebody has on their mind or something that you are doing that you think could be helpful to other people. We definitely want to hear it. But not a one and done conversation. I think we'll continue to be having this conversation.
For sure.
Yeah. And somebody said that she tried to burning. Yeah, I hear you. Vitamin D, and she loved your article, Tracy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I know, but that's the problem is the redhead can sometimes not actually take that vitamin D out of it, which is like, right, like system where your complexion that sun, but you need the sun to make the vitamin D, but you don't.
Right.
Like,
and yet it doesn't work. Yeah. Well, I'm allowed to go in it and I don't absorb it. I mean, my body doesn't keep enough of it either. So I think also just the way we live our lives and the pollution and the stress and just the amount of energy that we expend, it's hard to keep up.
yeah.
So all of that goes in. Magnesium, I love. Yeah. There's so many, right? I take a powder magnesium that I like. I don't even know the brand, but definitely another thing too. We can share. I'll share some information either on.
So there are all these different magnesiums, and they all do different things for your body. They're all like really critical for your body. And also some of them do nothing for your body. So sometimes people are taking what they think is a magnesium. I think, is it magnesium? Like complete garbage filler, does nothing for you for fun. Don't throw your, that could be so wrong.
Yeah.
But you can magnesiums, and like they, you know why they're called the same mineral, because depending on what they're compounded with can have very different purposes in your body. From what I've researched right now, what I'm using is magnesium threonate to help with sleep, because that's something that I actually learned from the Huron lab for it as a science. That's what I'm using, but it's definitely there's some there if you're actually looking for magnesium. So that's what I'm doing. That information that I got from the Huberman Lab podcast, and then I would say definitely research what all the different
I
things
would.
do.
Yeah, and talk to a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor or something. They have so I know my magnesium changes because my body's so weird. So sometimes it's citrate, sometimes it's the other one, like what my body is absorbing, and definitely doing some muscle testing and stuff like that on which one's working at what time. So it's all tricky.
So fun, and I think the message is it's so personal, and so. Like, hey, I found, this new great, lipstick. That probably changes on anybody too. But the point being is that like, you can't just like follow one person's recipe for you. Take what we've given you here, definitely with a grain of salt, and just maybe to lead you to have a conversation, figure out what works best for you. And we are so interested to hear, that works for you, because you might help somebody else set off on a path of that opens a door for them. And I for each other at this point in our life is just share, and the more information we have, the more we good questions of our doctors and demand answers to feel our very best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yes. So somebody wrote they'd love to hear the
Yeah.
pellet expert. Yeah, we got to get her in here.
Yeah, we'll book her in. Okay, for sure. Stay tuned. Make sure you're on the list.
Well, if you're
well,
watching
okay.
this on Facebook or you're watching this on YouTube, I'd like to be here to ask us these questions. head over to the midlife. Look for happy and just get on our list. We'll send the link every week. Here today, I will come back when you're something you want to talk about, like shoot us an email or DM us on Instagram, the midlife.co on Instagram, or Tracy and Kimby.co, Kimby and Tracy at the midlife. Anything you guys want to talk about, like we make this fun and informative for everybody.
Yeah.
All right.